December 2nd. It's a pretty nice warm day. It's about in the 60s. I removed all the insulation because the chickens were pecking at it. Probably should have foresaw that coming, but I added the foil at the bottom so the bees wouldn't chew on it. What I did find is I put foil around one of them, and the chickens were not pecking it. So I wrapped the bottom of all of them, and I cut them a little bit shorter. They got pecked up pretty good, so I cut them shorter, and then I put this plastic over them so the chickens hopefully can't get their heads up in there to peck it. It raised it up enough that it's near the slatted rack, so it's not as much insulation as there was, but I was trying to create a straight edge so that I could put foil tape on it. But hive 1 is done. Again, hive 2 is vacant, and then hive 3 has been done. Just gonna give this a little time. I put these on at night so the chickens would not see what I was doing. I may go ahead and prep the other ones and then just put them on at night as well, but I need to do an oxalic acid vaporization before I cover them all back up. So this is one piece of plastic, and I just cut through part of it so that it folded over. So if I untape that, I can get to the insulation. And then this back piece of insulation is taped on separate than the rest. But I'm only going to do one oxalic acid vaporization, which the brood's pretty low in some of these. And actually the hole is open. It's kind of hard to see. The hole is right here where my fingertip is. So if I cut the insulation higher in the back, I'd probably be able to make it easier to do vaporizations, but I don't know if I want that heat near that styrofoam. But yeah, now the insulation's to the deep box, but not all the way down to the slatted rack. So, and again, that's just to prevent the chickens from pecking on it, as I don't want them to get hurt either. I also just replaced all the oil in the bottom boards on this December 2nd. So all that's clean. So when I do the oxalic acid vaporization, I can count the mite drop. I think we got these all under control in October. So, and these hives have not been opened since October. And I don't plan on opening them until at the earliest sometime in February. And they have a clear inner cover on the top so I can see what's going on, and I've got the scales under all of them so I can track their weight. I do have 5 hives that I'm going to wrap out of 6. This is December 2nd. Every once in a while I see a bee come in with pollen. Kind of an orangish color. Oh, there's pollen right there. Seems to be good bee flight out of all the hives right now. Sure if you can see hive 3, the closer one, and hive 1, further one. Seems to be a good amount of activity. Looks like they're reorienting since I changed that front. This is hive 5. There's a fair amount of poop and stuff on the front of this one. Hive 6 has a lot less activity, but they're still flying. And then hive 7 has just a ton of bees out front. It's interesting, all these hives facing east, they fly out towards the east, back this way. All the ones facing north, they swing back around and then fly out to the south or to the west. So if that hive over there is finding pollen, these may not find the same pollen source. December 5th, it's about 3 days after we had a OAV treatment here in the winter. I'm just gonna look in here, and I did change the oil, so we should be able to quickly count small hive beetles and mites. This is hive 1. These are looking really good in here. I do see some mites though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 mites and 1 small hive beetle. That's pretty good. And again, this is after an OA treatment, so this isn't just natural mite fall. All right, hive 3. I see 2 mites, 3 mites, 4. 4 mites. This is frass from wax moss. I'm gonna keep an eye on that, but it seems to be okay. All right, chickens. This is hive 4. See 10 mites and 4 small hive beetles that are dead. This is hive 5, so I accidentally covered that when I did the OA. I just didn't uncover it, so I'm going to uncover that again as part of our test to see if they cover and uncover. I did see them blocking it one day, just kind of with their bodies. Oh wow, that's stuck. Give me a second. This is our hive 5. Let's see what we got. As far as mites, I see 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, that's 3. That's something else. That's debris. There's 4. 4 over here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 small hive beetles. And I'm not sure if you can see these drips in here or not, but some of this is mold, so this is definitely, the hive is, there's condensation happening in the hive, and it's ending up down here. Doesn't mean it's on the top, it could be from the sides. And then just moments from opening this up, you can see the, well, you may not be able to see them or not, but the bees are in there. And again, this has an insulating top, but our condensation probably would form, of course, around here or in this rabbit pretty quickly. The rest of everything else has been insulated now. Okay, this is hive 6. And we have 3 small hive beetles and 1 mite. That's right there, just for reference. That's it. No condensation here. This one had condensation last time. It was really big. Hive 4 had condensation last time too, but it didn't have it. But this just got insulated last night, so could have been a little condensation from the previous nights, but we'll see. This is hive 7. There are 14 mites in here. This is the one that had the highest mite counts before. Let's see, there's 1, 2 right here, and several others up in here. I see 1 small hive beetle, 2, 3 small hive beetles are dead. But not much condensation in there. So the insulation seems to be working. I did crease the corners on these so that I could wrap them and pull them in with a strap. The other ones I did not crease the corners, and they were just sort of hanging out. Oh no. Well, that is the downfall of these. So that's the only one that got it. Probably need to work on getting those creased and getting them folded over so we don't have any issues. It's December 10th. It's 69 degrees. It's right before a big storm is about to roll through here. And a curious thing with the insulation, the hive can't heat up as much. It can't get out on the warmer days. Now this is one of the more populous hives. There's a fair amount of activity, but not as much as hive 5. And hive 5 is our control, which is not wrapped. But oh, I just saw one go in that had pollen. But the more they're out flying though, the more energy they need. So they could be burning through more stores by being more active. Whereas these will regulate a temperature at a more steady pace or steady level without the fluctuations. So that's kind of part of our experiment to see if there's much of a difference between the two, or if there's a difference in how much honey they use. Looks like This is, so hive 4 here's got some activity, hive 3's got activity. I don't see out of hive 1. Oh, there's a bee coming out of hive 1. There's a couple bees coming out. So they're still out and about. It's December 10th. It's about 40 degrees. I'm gonna look in the top of the hives and do our second oxalic acid treatment this time of year. Did another one about a week ago. This vent is still open. So I get popularizer along the edges, but I don't see any bees up there. I'm gonna look in the clear inner covers and just compare the control hive to one of these other hives. Actually, I think this one's probably closer to hive 3 in weight, so that'll probably be a better comparison. But then we'll also look in one of these that has a higher population, see if there's any condensation. Pop the tops and I'll be right back. All right, this is the uninsulated, except for the inner cover, hive 5, our control hive. And they're moving around. They're not clustered tight. So at 40 degrees, they should be fine. We have some small hive beetles up here, and then every time I just smush this down and crush them against the top. So they're corralling them, but they're still in here. So I'm gonna cover this back up, and then we'll take a peek in the next one. And here's our hive 3, similar weight to our hive 5 that we just looked in. And I just put a little tape on the edge of this so that I can pull this straight up. See how that sort of sets down in there. Definitely a lot more active than the other ones. Quite a bit of heat. And I'll see if I can check the sensors and see what they're reading as. Turn that up. It sort of just sits back down in there. There's a tiny bit of a gap to be able to get things out of here, but when I put the strap around it, it sort of cinches everything up, and that strap has to be removed to be able to pull this piece out. So again, this is just an experiment this year. I want to see how much weight they lose this year. If they continue rearing brood, they may actually lose more weight. But I am not supplemental feeding them so that they're just kind of going with the flow of the season. If I keep feeding them, they're going to think it's spring and they're going to try to keep rearing, and then they're going to eat more food, and there's going to be a continuous cycle. So that's my theory, and we're just going to test it this year. Last year I did not feed them, and they made it through just fine. And they were rearing to go in early February, or late February, early March. So go ahead and get some of these wraps peeled off, and all I have to do is undo the tape, and then this back piece is taped onto the hive separately, so I can tip that up and then do the oxalic acid treatment. This will be number 2, probably do 3 total. I've already counted the mites in the bottom. You've probably seen that previously in the video, and I'm just going to add to that number when I check again, because I'm not going to change the oil. And this is hive 7 as a comparison. I haven't popped this yet, but this is one of our more populated, the heavier hives, and I think also more populated. So let's see if I can get this out. There it goes. They seem to be completely active. Let's see. Anybody in torpor? Wait, 1, 2. It is cold out here, so I'm going to keep them buttoned up. So this is what I do. I untape the back, and then I'll untape this, and this whole, if I untape one side, this whole thing will just hinge out of the way. All right, so once this side's released, then this one will just pivot out of the way, and that tape will just hold that piece on. So it's right there. Nope, that tape didn't hold. Okay. I'll be able to treat it, and then I'll just put this back on. Wow, that's quite warm. I think I'm going to get my little temperature gun out and see what that temperature actually is. Regular infrared thermometer gun here. I'll shoot this at the control hive. 37.9, 38. So you can read that. This one I had popped open for a little bit, so reading may not be perfect, but I'm pretty sure you're going to see a difference. Let's just see what that is. definitely warmer to touch. 57, almost 56 degrees. So about 15 degrees difference. All right, this is the next hive. Haven't even opened it yet, so the temperature is right off the bat. 50s. And again, it's in the 30s. It's December 15th, 56 degrees. Just checking these again for mites. This will be a cumulative count. They've had 2 OA treatments so far. I'll try to do this quick because the chickens seem very interested in what I'm doing today. Hive 1 has 9 mites, 3 small hive beetles, and I do see a very small larvae right here. Hard to tell what that is. There's a tiny bit of, appears to be wax moth frass in the middle. Hive 3 has 6 mites and 1 small hive beetle. There's stuff going on over here. It's on capping. It's just real close to one side. It's odd. This is still Hive 3 here, but see a little larvae there that's dead. Hive 4 has 19 varroa mites and 13 small hive beetles. There's a little bit of moisture in this corner still. Not nearly as much as last time. Hive 5 has 5 mites and 15 small hive beetles. This is the one that's uninsulated. It's kind of our control. There's some moisture down in here. Hive 6 has 10 mites and 6 small hive beetles. Hive 7 has 19 mites and 3 small hive beetles. This one has a fair bit of moisture as well, condensation. No molding, but you can see with the clear is water. Oil and the water separate. So that's interesting. I don't know if this is a little bit looser. There's no condensation in the tops. Let's take a look at that real quick here too. This is our first look into Hive 7. See if I can get this out with that. They're in there and active. No condensation. So they do have condensation. It's a bigger population. It's one of the heavier hives, so condensation's happening. It's definitely happening down here on the lower part of the walls. Just a quick look at the front of the hives here. Just saw some pollen go in on that one. 7, 6, 5. Control is uninsulated. 4. 3's got some coming and going. Look over there. It's in the mid to upper 50s right